We are following breaking news right now. Another arrest in connection with the death of a Fort Valley State student from Atlanta. Investigators say that Anitra Gunn was murdered. Her body discovered in a wooded area in central Georgia days after she disappeared. Her boyfriend was already charged in her murder. 11 Alive's Hope Ford has learned the boyfriend's friend is now under arrest as well. But Hope, he has not been charged with murder.
Right, 22-year-old Javon Abram was arrested today for making false statements and concealing a death. The GBI says Abram is a friend of Gunn and her boyfriend, Demarcus Little. The GBI wouldn't go into details of how long the three knew each other or how they knew each other, besides just being friends, and say that they didn't say what false statements this new suspect is accused of making or how he allegedly concealed Gunn's death. Investigators say they talked to Abram several times since Gunn's disappearance, but it wasn't until after they arrested Little for murder that they managed to gather enough evidence to charge Abram.
We're still actively investigating this case. We're not going to stop now. That's what led up to this, that we didn't stop, we just kept on going.
And the GBI did say they expect more arrests in this case, but they wouldn't elaborate any further than that. They did say Gunn's phone was found, but they're still looking for the missing front bumper of her car.